Sir, I have lost the aircraft. The one I was flying in. What do you mean you lost the aircraft? What? Like, how do you lose the aircraft? You were in it. You were flying it. Where did it go? Well, you see, there was an emergency. I had to do an entire, ejection. The seat poof went up. I was gone, parachute down. I wasn't looking where I was going. I just wanted to make sure I knew I was okay. Isn't there some kind of technology, some kind of box, something like a black box people talk about that has all the data you would ever want to make sure we don't lose something like this? That is the truth of what has essentially happened over at one of the Marine Corps bases as the F-35 has been lost. And I'm not going to tell the whole story. We have news articles to cover that as well, but let's jump into it. And on top of that, we do have some first time ever, I would say, in like multiple years I've ever done merchandise. We have a drink to the foam stickers, shirts, and a mug beer glass here, which you should probably drink out of. And I will be getting mine here very shortly to make sure I have one here on the channel as well. If you guys want to help support this small creator that is in front of you right now, links down below under this video. The title from NPR says, have you seen an F-35 in South Carolina? One has gone missing. Says, thankfully, the pilot of an F-35 jet safely ejected, but in a bit of a mystery. The world's most advanced fighter jet is nowhere near to be found. The U.S. military wants help finding the plane, which is believed to have crashed. The unusual events took place Sunday north of Charleston, South Carolina, where a pilot from Marine Fighter Attacks Training Squadron 501 ejected from their jet, specifically an F-35 Bravo Lightning II. Obviously, this raises questions for any of the average Joes out there of like, don't the aircraft that are the military aircraft should have some awareness of what aircraft are where and how, right? Like there's technology, radars, things like that this emits signals, right? The FAA has talked about tracking this as well, but I'm just amazed that this is not being found. I will explain why I think that is important to address as well, because there's been not only one F-35 ever lost. They say in a quote, the alert of mishap went out Sunday afternoon. It says, quotations, a pilot ejected safely and was transferred to local medical center in stable conditions at Joint Base Charleston, in a message sent on Sunday around 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It says emergency teams started looking for the fighter jet on Sunday. They are being aided by the Navy, the FAA, and Civil Air Patrol, along with multiple local and state police agencies. The base said in an update on Monday, it added quotations, integrated teams are searching and preparing for the recovery of the jet. The base is also asking members of the public to get in touch if they've seen the plane or have any information that could lead to its recovery. The fighter jet is based at Marine Corps Air Station Beaufort. It comes from a squadron whose mission is to train pilots and support crews on the F-35. It also takes part in air show demonstrations. I thought this was an entire joke, but I can tell you right now, I actually do have several friends that are stationed in this area that have personally written me and told me they are on the ground looking for this aircraft as well. And I just thought that was hilarious because it's like, no day in the military is a typical day. You don't think you're going to say, I'm looking for an F-35. This is probably the first time that book we all grew up with, called I Spy, where that actually is applicable to real life. They continue to say, based on the jet's last known position and in coordination with the FAA, we are focusing our attention north of Joint Base Charleston around Lake Moultrie and Lake Marion. Joint Base Charleston said the two lakes are adjacent to each other and they sit roughly between Charleston and Columbia, South Carolina, suggesting the military believes the plane did not continue flying very long after the pilot ejected. If you guys like what you're seeing here on this channel, it's probably because you like the channel. Most of you guys are not subscribed. I hope that what I cover here does interest you, and I have earned your subscription because it is hard to, get this thing to grow, especially as a smaller channel. I would appreciate it. Now, I will be honest with you. NPR does not cover the issue that I was thinking of because I think this is the most relevant of finding a needle in a haystack. If you guys forget, the F-35 is a very high profile aircraft that every other military in the world would probably love to get their hands on and be able to understand the backwards engineering of everything that this is capable of. And it's been known to be the reason why, or one of the many reasons why, the U.S. military does have an upper hand against adversaries such as Russia and China. Now, when I look at this, I was like, wait, didn't we have one of these crash off of the coast of South China Sea area where there was some issue that happened and we actually were racing against the Chinese to recover one of these? Yes, that did happen only a few years ago, but even the NPR goes into several other crashes that have been noted here where I'm like, the impressive one was the fact we found it in the South China Sea and we beat the Chinese, but there's even more they list in their article here. To just give you guys a ballpark figure, they're looking at this aircraft costing $80 million. So $80 million, you guys are mad about Ukraine, you guys are mad about money going over there or whatever. This is still a lot of money either way, but for some reason seems like a just chip in the bucket in today's standards. And I would just like to highlight, I don't know if this is a Marine Corps thing specifically. Obviously, I've mentioned other branches that have lost different aircraft as well, but I just love how the Marine Corps has a level of just understanding that they lose shit, right? Like that, you guys remember 3.6 was out there about the rifles that were lost. They've lost pistols. And then there was actual reports coming out from the Marine Corps on official sources saying that they've lost thousands of weapons and the cost has been astronomical. So maybe this is just a Marine Corps thing. Maybe this is a military thing across the board. I'm not really sure, but I have to say this seems to be just the status quo for the Marine Corps as we look into this. And I just wanted to talk about the seriousness of this. This is a Class A mishap, which is the highest level you could get, where obviously there are lower levels that I could describe lower that are talking about days of work missed or some certain dollar amount. But this is the entire aircraft. So this will be taken very seriously to include a full investigation, which includes a workup, medically speaking, to make sure that this pilot is totally coherent and wasn't operating this in any kind of, under the influence type of issue. But the report will probably not come out for about another year plus time frame. And I just want to highlight some of the comments from the previous video of last week's that I covered on Friday. If you haven't looked at that, you can check out up here where I talk about extensively the issues that have rocked the military recruitment, as there's been the noted amount of 7,000 recruits that will not be entering the U.S. military, specifically the U.S. Navy this year. And this has actually prompted a lot of uprise from people in the comments. I want to highlight and see what you guys think about them right here. Akoto says, clearly the problem is the Navy isn't inclusive enough. Military leadership probably. And what he's describing here is there's been a lot of sentiments online spread across social media as people keep saying the reason why the military has failed at their recruitment has been through these woke ideology policies where they're looking at attempting to get people from these diverse groups in order to join the military. And people are thinking that that is hurting because a lot of the military has pulled some of their applicants from more traditional conservative means and they don't really understand their base here. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot 4115 says, how long do they try to fix recruitment? And says, lower standards and raise the bribe. And I do agree with that sentiment, as I discussed in that video as well, talking about how the issues that were there in regards to $75,000 going towards bonuses for new people to join. And then they also went on to lower the ASVAB to a 10 for the U.S. Navy, looking at this as well. And obviously, amongst other things that have been done to try and get people to join the U.S. military. But again, tell me if you watch the video what you think, if you want to add on to anything what these people have said here. And tell me what you're thinking about this F-35 issue as well, as they're looking to the public to try and do a search and rescue mission on the ground looking to try and find this thing. Let me know down in the comments below. But as always, if you guys like what I cover here, hit me up over on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok, or down in the comments below. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.